No, I'm not hearing anything.
Okay, good.
Hi,
I saw.
Christine. Good afternoon. We are live.
Wow, Cheryl, can you imagine? It is Monday again.
Yeah. Time waits on no man. That's the
I
one thing I could tell you about. Time waits on no man, woman, child, or anybody, whatever you want to call yourself. Time waits on no one. We gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta keep moving. And this is I'm also excited to get on the live. Like my niece was saying to me last night. She said, Auntie, I'm so proud of you. She said, because you know how many people can't do that. They want to, but they'll be afraid to do a live. And I
yes.
said, well, and when I decided to do it, I decided to do it because to me this is an important forum for me. This is not just a place just having a space to show up, just as something
Sure.
else to do. This is a place where I want I want to impart some good knowledge and to really be a part of a growing globe of people who offer good motivation, inspiration to others throughout the world through this medium. Because
Yes.
there's a lot of good, there's a lot that happens to set up a studio. There's a lot that happens. YouTube has to approve you, and people don't realize that. And then you got to spend the time to set up your studio for it to look professional, and then get started. So let's get the intro on and let's get moving.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So here we are. Right. And every
Yes,
week,
we are.
every every week I'm going to try to get it better and better. Because I keep reading and I think there's a couple of YouTubers who I follow, because I like their some of them just do social issues. Some people just have different topics, and of course there are some of those who you don't want to listen to, like everything else and everywhere else. There are those you choose and those who you don't choose. But the choice is mine, choice is yours, right? So I want people to choose this channel. And the thing is, there's a way that YouTube works. So I have to now begin to find search words so that when people search for certain things on thing, my channel will show up. And of course, we gotta
Right.
get people to start liking the channel because when they like,
Yes.
the likes is what moves it. YouTube will now begin to show it, put it in a different direction. It will be in the
Yes.
algorithm, right? So we gotta get some people to begin to like. But you know what? This is only our sixth. Is it? No, this is our
I think it's our
fifth
fifth.
episode. It's
Yes.
fifth, right? There are six because I did one alone, but there are six. There are six, and you know what? We haven't done so badly because the people could now I can now refer people to the YouTube channel and they can go and they see and there's content,
Yes.
right? There's content, solid, good content, not just two women coming on here and just being thing. We are contributing something to our fellow women and men, whoever wants to listen to.
Yeah.
The song is mainly for women, but any man who wants to listen in, I always say I love men. I had a good father, I had a husband, and I have two sons and a grandson. So guess what? Male in my life is very important, right? So today we want to talk about this subject is something that a lot of people have touched on, and there are there are different avenues of it. And it's about women and in finance, and I pulled up some stuff on Google here, which I'll probably read some of it at some point during our discussion. But what I really
Yes.
want to talk about is the importance of us as women being financially stable, being understanding finance. Because I came from an era where my mother stayed at home and my father was the breadwinner and he'd bring the money home. So she just did
Yes.
the homemaking and stuff. I mean, there are a few women who still do that, who are privileged to have that leeway where they
Arrangements.
can stay at home with their children and stuff, and their husbands are the good men who would work and bring in the bread, as people would say. But there are lots of us who have to get up and go out and work. Sometimes because we want to, sometimes because we have chosen career paths, sometimes because we really have to. We found ourselves in a situation where we don't have a choice. If we don't get up and get, the getting will get us, right? So there are different avenues. I know there are women out there who like to talk about disparity in salaries and stuff. I don't really want to talk about that too much. I just want us to talk about because we know that exists, right? That what a man gets paid for the same job, a woman gets paid differently. So we know that happens. But I want
Yes.
us to focus on us, the importance of us understanding money, because I also want to touch before we get off today a little bit on hi Chantel. I That's my niece, my who's always coming to listen to her auntie, right? So and we also want to touch a little bit on women having multiple streams of income, especially in the time we're living in, where there's no guarantee with a job.
So
Back then
true.
you could have spent 25 years in the bank. I could decide to leave, and I could have booked other places, and I could have decided what I want to do. Nowadays, you don't have a choice really, yeah. You take it or leave it. So you find ways of getting your income. And there's so many women with so many different talents and skills. And I want to urge them really always to put those talents and skills to work. Because sometimes those things that we see as a hobby can be a real stream of income. But these
Yes.
days, as long as it's a legitimate way of making money, we need to do it. Because it ain't the government service anymore. It's not the bank anymore. It's not any of those things anymore. Everybody's contracts, breaking contracts, and it's like letting you out of a job. So, we have to understand money. And I find I talk to a lot of women who don't really understand money, or they go after money in a whole different kind of a way. Some feel that they need to find a MAN to get money. That's spelling like people can't spell, right? To
Mhm.
get money, to give them money. So looking for a rich one, or
Yes.
some feel they fall into all kinds of not so great things,
Hmm.
and the whole thing is that when we have to raise our children, whatever it is. But we need to understand money and get to see money, not the love of money, as the Bible says, because to fall into evil, but to get to understand money, understand the importance of having money. Money is important. Without money, it's very you can't we cannot even be here on YouTube, because there's a bill that has to be paid at the end of every month for the internet to enable us to be here. So money is something that we need to respect and embrace as a part of our life, like everything else. Money is important, right? As long as we do the right thing to get it, money is very, very important. Because I can't help you as a sister if I don't have money. If you have a need, I can't reach out to you because I have no money, right? You can't reach out to me, right? We can't help anybody else. You know what I mean? Money is important, and I think people need to start to begin to look at money as important, and we need to break down that whole thing where money is this big thing that's is unachievable, it's hard to reach. Money is right there for all of us. There are people out here right now just making dollars legitimately, and sometimes they don't even have to work hard, because that's another myth that we have to work hard to get paid. That's not true. There are many people who use their, I don't know if is cabeza a real word? Somebody says use a cabeza, meaning use your brain. I have to check that out, eh? But I'm saying it here, all right? Use your brain and come up with ideas, right? Because there are people who could package things, there are people who are just really good at crafting things, there are women who can paint. I mean, there's so many different avenues of making money, and I need people to women to start coming away from the feeling that they have to go to university in order to make money. You don't have to. You could have a skill set that you've learned from your grandparents, and if you have the right mindset and the right people around you, you can earn a good living and even share with others just by that skill set. So I want us to concentrate on that. You know, there's some things I pulled up here on Google about the most powerful women in finance. I don't really care about them; they already have their money. But but women need to take a more active role in their financial lives. It's not just about working and getting that direct deposit at the end of the month or the fortnight or whatever it is. It is about investing and doing different things with their income to make sure that they live a better quality of life, because we can't travel, we can't do cruises, we could do nothing if we don't have money. Let's face it.
So true. So
Let's
true.
face it. Let's face it. So let me hear your take on it. as we get into this topic today.
Well, I'll tell you, having had, as you shared with everyone else, 25 years of banking experience, I have seen a lot of women struggle with money. Uh,
Mhm.
in some cases, it's historically been because men were taught more about how to manage money in terms of managing a family.
Yeah. Mhm.
And if you look, I can't remember who it was, but some time ago, I was listening to, again, I can't remember exactly, but very well respected gentleman. And oh, I knew it's Bishop T.D. Jakes. And he said, women, when you were little, you've been growing up playing with Barbie dolls and house and all of those
Yeah.
things. And so, literally, psychologically, you were trained to be a wife and a mother because that's what you were doing. Men never did that. They were out on the field playing football, etc. But also never really being taught how to manage a family, how to be a nurturer. And similarly, you find that in many cultures, men are the ones who are taught, okay, this is what you're going to be expected to do. So money is part of that equation. And Cheryl, I love that we always seem to be on the same track because I have been talking in another circle recently about the way that even financial institutions, because my take will always be on how well are we in all aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you are spot on when you talk about finance being something we absolutely have to learn. It supports our mental well-being. It supports everything. We can't go to the grocery unless we've got some dollars, and we can't take care of our family. So I got a great article that I had been reading and talking to people about the fact that if you do not factor in your financial wellness as part of everything else that you do, you're going to be, think about it like this, you're going to be trying to ride a tricycle with only two wheels and falling, lopping over to the side, or sitting on one of those stools with three legs and falling off. So that's where we find ourselves. And we really have
Right.
to help more women because it factors in on our goals, what we want to achieve, not just for us, but for our children, for the wider community. When we talk about us being sisters, being able to help each other. So it is absolutely necessary. And we can get into the specifics about some of those key things. And I'll leave everyone with some key points as they go out of this conversation today.
Right. Good. So there's an article here from Forbes. I didn't read it too first, so let me see what some of the points that they made. They said money is one of the most emotionally charged topics out there. It's been my experience, whoever the writer is, I should say who wrote it, right? It says it's Forbes Woman by Melissa Houston, right?
Okay.
And she said money is one of the most emotionally charged topics out there. It's been my experience, well, her, Melissa Houston,
Yes.
it's been my experience to learn that everyone has a money story that is usually defined in our childhood. And
Yes.
we carry that story with us either consciously or subconsciously. Women and money tend to get a bad rap, and there are many myths out there surrounding women and money. It's important to have a positive relationship with money. We just said that. It's
Mm-hmm.
important to understand the importance of money so that we can view money for what it is. Money is a tool. Money is a
It's a tool.
tool,
Mm-hmm.
right? That helps you acquire things that you need or want. Okay? However, many emotions and conditions are tied to money. Women can money can elevate your status. Money offers security. Having money may boost your self-confidence, and the list goes on. Yes? So, if you've been told that you are not good with money, You grew up in a home where money was a constant source of stress, or you are in debt and feel hopeless about getting out of debt. These experiences may conjure up negative feelings around money. This negativity around money may cause you to be stuck where you are, whether that's in debt and mismanaging your finances. Therefore, mindset, ooh, that's
Yes.
Teresa.
Our
Mindset
favorite
plays
word. Yes.
an important part in your money management skills. When you have a growth mindset, you can move from the current condition of your finances and grow your wealth. Let me tell you something. I have met women, and maybe I fall into one of the categories too, who are hoarders because their childhood there were issues with money in their childhood. And when they grew up and they began to be comfortable financially, what they have done most of the time is like hoard. So they don't spend money. They don't want to pay for anything. They don't want to pay for anything because they're afraid of, it's a mindset. The childhood
Yes.
stays in their head, and without some therapy and without somebody working with them, they stay in that mindset where they feel that they'll always not have. They don't see the future, so they wouldn't invest. They wouldn't share. They wouldn't that kind of thing. They hoard and they hold everything into themselves. Then they
Yes.
have the other set of women who I've met who well, they spend, 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 spend. They validate themselves by having only designer items. If they could walk around with a Balenciaga bag or a Tom Ford pair of shoes or whatever it is. And now I love those things. Don't get me wrong. I like my designer things too. But that does not define who I am. See, that defines them because they feel that and the truth is, let me just put on my image part a little bit. The truth is, if you walk into a room with Tom Ford shoes and a Balenciaga bag or a Tom Ford bag or Gucci bag or something, people begin to see you as something. They don't know whether you rented it, stole it, borrowed it, or how you got it. But it puts you in a certain category. And that's where the eye comes in and the brain. So they see that and immediately start thinking, oh, she must be somebody because she's well dressed, she's wearing a designer bag, designer shoes, Gucci earrings, she's wearing whatever. And so they put you in a category. So those things does have their merit. If you want to get ahead in life, you're going to do things to get ahead. It's like I always tell people about it. If you're going to buy a house, most times the houses in that neighborhood that are being sold, the house that is being sold as on the market, a lot of work goes into the staging of that house. First thing they do is the landscaping on the outside, the curb appeal. Why do they have curb appeal? When you walk into the living room, you see it beautifully furnished because some furniture store will fix it up really nicely for you to walk in and see it. Because that's the selling point. If they leave the yard all grubby with mud and dirt and unfinished and the house looking anyhow, when you walk in, you have to imagine what that
Yes.
property could do for you. So the reason for doing curb appeal and setting up the inside is so that plays with your mind. So money is important, and you can't even do that without money. Let me tell you something. There's nothing in this world you can do right now besides pray. You can pray without money, right? But everything else, you have to have dinero. What's the other word? Pesos. What all the words
Greenback.
that you use? Was it? Was that?
Greenbacks. Greenback.
Greenback, right? Greenback, right? You have to have all of these things in order to accomplish any of these things we're talking about here. So money is important, ladies who listen to this stream. Money is important. It's important we understand our role, and money doesn't control us. Money is a tool to get to where we want to get. To get the things we want to send our children to school, to help our children with our grandchildren, to have a proper home to live in, to drive a good car, to take some trips, around the world sometime. Right now, New York Fashion Week is on, right? And I have my friends who are there. I followed one. She put out a beautiful one on YouTube yesterday, New York Fashion Week, and I said, I feel like if I'm there because she showed so many nice something. I said, I feel like I'm there through you. It was really nice. And one of the young ladies I follow on YouTube, Monroe Steele, right? Hey, Lord Monroe Steele. Maybe one day she will have a channel one day. No, she's really inspiring. She's an inspirational young woman. And if you don't know her, find her channel. That's her name, Monroe see, and you'll find her. She's really good. And she showed clips of the fashion week and what she was wearing and that kind of thing. It's so encouraging to see a young woman making those strides in the thing. You cannot do those things without money. Money is a tool, right? I couldn't have food in my kitchen today if I didn't have money to go to the supermarket and go to the greengrocers and buy stuff in the market, vegetables and stuff. You have to have money. Yes?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
having read this, yeah, money man, and we also have to learn how to manage that money too, because somebody could get it, and if you don't manage it properly, I'm guilty. Had money in the account, I mean, like not just 1,000, but a couple $1,000s, I mean, money in the back, and then we look back and say, but if I could get that money back again, I would not do what I did with that money back then. I would have done this and that, but when that ship has sailed, it's has sailed. So we need to be careful, right? Not to be hoarding, not to be boasting about money, not to be doing the wrong things with money, but need to be able to learn to steward our money properly and understand what money is for us. Yeah. Go ahead. Take it away, Christine.
Well, huh, Cheryl, again, yet again, we were both reading Forbes.com articles. So I have one written by Danny, Dani Pascarella. And Danny is the founder and CEO of a company called 111, and it's a financial wellness, there's that word again, wellness platform, right? But what was interesting about Danny's article, and it's something that I have been talking about for a few years because it's a statistic. Now, we don't have regional statistics, we don't have Trinidad statistics, so we use the US as a base point, uh, you
Mhm.
know, so that we will know what's happening around the world. But it's relevant for Trinidad and Tobago and other parts of the region as well. So in it, she says, financial wellness is the third part of the wellness trifecta, which is physical, mental, and financial. If you
Right.
don't have financial, you're going to be off kilter all
Yeah.
of your life.
Right.
And what
Mhm.
stops us? I'll tell you what stops us, and you touched on it. When we were children, children see, they learn by seeing, and they learn by listening, but predominantly seeing. So often as children, especially growing up in a middle class home, it depends on what you saw. Did you see your parents struggle? Did you see them argue about money? And those things stay with you. Then there are all the euphemisms. Money doesn't grow on trees. My child,
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
waste money. What do you think I am? Made of money? And so
Mhm.
children associate a lot of negatives with money. And if, as adults, we don't address those issues, because it is an issue, if we
It
don't
is, yes.
address those issues, we find that the negative relationship, because it's a
Yeah.
relationship that we have with money is not the healthiest. And so once we get that out of the way, like you were talking about many women back in the day, your mom, my mom certainly was not, she was a homemaker.
Yeah.
Dad, he worked, he gave her a budget, and with that, she was able to buy food, take care of the home, etc. In essence, today we would call our mothers CFOs. We need to start calling it as it really is. Dad was the chief executive officer. He looked after the big picture. Mom was the CFO. We need to have those
Yes.
conversations.
Yes.
Children,
Yes.
you are part of the board of directors, because when children learn from their parents how to be
Yes.
responsible about money, right? You find that they have that healthier relationship. How? How is always a great question, Cheryl, because instead of saying, I don't have I don't have any money, well, the better question would be, how can I find a way of making more money?
Yes.
Because when you ask your brain how, the brain shoots off and goes to work and starts checking, because it's like a supercomputer checking all of the avenues. It checks all of your gifts and your talents. Okay,
Yeah.
Cheryl, you are not just an image consultant. You are able to write. Well, write something, send it into the newspaper, and get paid for it. They'll pay you 500, maybe $1,000.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Yep. Yep.
you can research. So it's when we start having, we set the environment, and as we set, and many of us, I mean, I'm just as guilty as you of having been challenged by that. But my new environment, you encircle yourself with the people that can help you change that narrative, and you start learning from them. You do like you and I do. We go online, we get information. Okay, so how do we do this successfully? I found
Yep.
5 tips on how to have a better relationship with money, and to start doing it this month. Most of North America is $400 away from bankruptcy. It means that if you have an emergency, there's an accident, that money is gone, and then you're left like, okay, so what am I going to do now? So we're going to talk about that a little later, but spot on. We have to start creating that environment in our home. As we get better, our children get better. And guess what? That will mean that their generation, when they have kids, they will
Right.
get even better with money.
Yep. Yep. I hear you. I hear you. Right. So that could take us to this area of having multiple streams of income, right? Because there's some. I did a conference. My first conference I did for women in 2016, and the topic of that was stepping into your greatness.
Oh,
And the reason for that conference, I mean, I wanted to do a conference because after my training with Lisa Nichols, and they kept saying, that you need to create your own stages.
yes,
So I came back home from all my studies and stuff, and he said, what, let me. So I put this conference together. But the reason why I chose that theme, because I was meeting so many women who had so many talents. They could do stuff with their hands. Yet they complain about not having money because they didn't know how to turn those what we call little things into businesses. And I'd met a young woman who she had done something for AFET, actually, a workshop. And I was very impressed with her presentation, and I asked her to be one of the presenters. What she did is did a whole presentation showing you how to take that business, get a name for it, and register it. So it's going to be a registered business. So when you legitimize it, you're going to see it differently as just
yes,
something you're just doing and giving to your neighbors, right? So to register. So she showed the importance of that. I had another speaker who she's an attorney, but her business dealt with business and the law. So she spoke up from the business aspect, from the law aspect of business. What's right,
right,
what's not right. I had somebody do marketing. Of course, I did the image part of it, the presentation of your logo and your website and yourself, and how you carry yourself and everything else, and we did. I was that up to today. That conference is still talked about, and I had my keynote by you should know her, Catherine Bethel. She's the owner of Bees Ice Cream, and she
yes,
gave her story about the economy, how bad it was, and having to came. She saw she used to go to St James. That was the only comfort on a Friday or Saturday evening to buy ice cream. And she told her husband, she said, why can't we do something like that? And he built, because he was in construction, he built a cart. And they got to Curragh Junction, which is the part of East Trinidad for the listeners. It's an East Trinidad. It's a very popular junction, an area. And they set up that cart there and decided to make homemade ice cream and go out there and sell. And of course, she lost friends, she lost relatives, because people were ashamed that she was selling ice cream on the side of the street, right? Nothing illegal, nothing. I mean, it wasn't drugs, it wasn't anything bad, but they were selling ice cream. It helped their income. And that today is now an international brand. You can find Bee's ice cream in some stores in Brooklyn and different parts of New York City. She has a big plant in Shafle where they produce the ice cream, different flavors of ice cream. Mostly
Yes.
supermarkets in Trinidad and Tobago carry that ice cream. And according to her, she said, now I can live in a house on top of a hill. That's how she put it. She said, no, she said, I came from the little house. I could live in a, when people come to my house and see my pool, and so they're like, oh. She said, but that pool and that house on top of the hill, I could look down and see people. I'm not looking down on people, but I'm looking down and seeing people because I'm now on a hill. I'm perched on a hill. God has blessed me. That came from taking all of the pride away, all of the shame away, and using a gift and a talent. My husband was able to build that cart, so he's a builder, and I was able to remember my grandmother's recipes and make different types of ice cream and put whatever fruit we had in the yard into it and make different flavors. And people began to know
Yeah.
us on a Friday or Saturday and coming there to buy this ice cream. So that was, let me tell you, I still remember her speaking. And I remember when I went to her to ask her to do that keynote, as I sat in her office and I told her what I was doing, she said, I'm in. She's a beautiful person. She said, and she said, not another word, I am in. I am there with you. And she came and she stayed, she did, after her keynote, she didn't leave. She stayed the entire day of the conference with us, had lunches and everything. It was such an edifying something. And that's something I did a part 2 in 2018, where we continue talking about women elevating each other and doing what we need to do. So I'm saying, because I meet people all the time who are extremely skilled. You'll be surprised to know what they can do, yet the thing they don't have. Because well, marketing is a thing on its own. Sometimes, not sometimes, you need help. And that's where all of us come in to support each
Yeah.
other. In marketing, you're doing something, I'm supporting you. I am doing something, you're supporting me. And if we support each other within a community, that village can help everybody have $1 in their pocket every single time, right? So I always encourage, like I did on my site where I did my digital learning, and the free course, the free thing I gave them was a whole PDF on setting up essential to setting up a business. One of the things I put on that is a revenue wheel that I learned from Lisa Nichols and me. And I do a simple analogy of a hairdresser, a hairstylist having a little salon. He has a little salon and she's doing hair every day. That's a lot. That's hard work, eh? You have to
I know.
stand for hours and it's a lot of work. And people look at it as simple. That's a lot. I inhale all kind of chemical. That's a lot of work. I'm saying she could now get a space in there, set it up, rent a station to somebody who's doing nails. So that's income for her. She could also set up a nice little coffee thing where people come and get a cup of coffee during the day while they're waiting. But most inevitably, you go to a hair salon, you're waiting on something.
Of
She could sell
course.
like little snacks, but she can make herself, get up in the morning early and make herself some nice sandwiches, package it nicely for this when they could have something to eat, get a cooler with some little drinks in it, have that thing. So you're talking about rental space, we're talking about sandwiches, we're talking about drinks, and then of course bring some hair accessories into it. And so, and before you know it, she has all those streams of income right around in that little space she's in there.
Yes.
That small salon, she could now do also when when they go in there hustling from work, whatever it is, you're not going to be hungry. You can get a sandwich, a pie or something, a cookie or something, and a glass of something to drink, or a bottle of something to drink, but even a bottle of water, something. So we have to use our imagination, and we also have to help each other sometimes to think outside of the norm, right?
Correct.
So even if you are one of those people today who still have a job that pays you for 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever, or whatever, even if you're one of those people who still have that, still privileged to have that, because it's a privilege, to get that direct deposit in your account all the time. Whatever skills you have, you can still do it. Especially now we have online, where you can now market the stuff online. I am no tech guru. I am not a tech guru, right? But what I do is never keep myself away from learning new things on technology. And I set up a whole site with digital learning. My workshops that I will go and do live, I decided to turn it into a thing. And again, where because I've aligned myself with the right people, Lisa Nichols again, my main coach, right? I did a whole lot of we did a whole Epic Women series in 2020 during COVID. Dr. Cheryl Wood, another inspirational woman, right? So I did a whole thing with her, and then the inspiration came to get yourself together. You don't have to have a big studio. It's my space. Do a recording the same way you would teach a class, piece by piece. Get your recording, get somebody to fix the videos and set up. I now have an e-learning platform. Me, who can repair a computer. Some people just really tech savvy. But there's nothing I can't do. I can now build websites, I can do different things. So listen, and because I have taught myself certain things. I sit, let me say for hours, I shut things down, I open it back up, I go back until I get it right. There is a way to do it. You have to have the mindset faith. And what I have found is when you are so determined, God opens the way for you. When you are determined, somehow the ideas you'll be sleeping. When I did the first website, I was lying down thinking, how do I market this thing? And I just got up with a thought. And that thought came from my Heavenly Father. Get there, go on Canva and do a website and see what could happen. And I did after the first, went off after the first one, right? But it came out so good. And I thought myself, ooh, I felt nicer. Because you see, when you accomplish something, you feel good about it. Right?
Of
The other thing
course.
I always tell women, I wrote that was on LinkedIn last week or week before. Please talk about your achievements. We tend to hold ourselves back because we feel that we shouldn't talk about it. Because people might think we're boasting. But you can think what you want, I will tell you I'm very accomplished. I have an e-learning thing. I have a spa. I do speaking. I do branding. And I will tell you who I am. Because if I don't say who I am, I will now have a YouTube platform. If I don't say who I am, how would you get to know me? We can't be shy. We're not going to be boastful.
New.
But we certainly need to, and this came also from a forum, something a function I went to in 2019, where I think she's now the managing director or the CEO of Royal Bank. She's the first female. Trying to remember her name. And her talk was on that. Please
Right.
speak up and say who you are. Put your initials behind your name, right? Don't be afraid to put whatever initial, what you work hard, whether a diploma, a certificate, or MBA, put it behind your name. Those letters mean something. There's a reason why you have letters. There's something I tend not to do because people ask me what is it? But put it there because we need to own our and that's the only way we move forward. That's also a thing I mean, I know we talk about financial wisdom today, but that is what carries you there, right? Because when people see you and they want to work with you, what happens when they work with you is that the money comes in. The money comes in, and you're now able to live a quality of life and then share with others. Because I don't mean that God gives us anything to keep and hoard for ourselves, and then share with others and help others, whether it be instead of giving something tangible or having conferences that people can come and be empowered and learn things through the medium that we're using. However you choose to use the gifts that God gave to you, that is important. I've been
Well,
talking. Christy.
girl, you have covered so much. I just wanted to reiterate to ladies and men too, a couple of things that you touched on. It was the importance of transforming. In the Bible, it talks about the renewing of the mind.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
transformation of the mind. How does one do that? Well, first, again, it comes back to self reflection, becoming aware. Who am I? What was I made for?
yes,
Do I have gifts and talents? We all do.
yes,
How can I utilize these gifts and talents? Even though, as you say, for some, they've got the 9 to 5 job. I certainly started doing events on the side when I was working at the bank in the corporate communications department. I got clearance for it. I never hid anything. I went to my boss. I said, look, this is what I was doing. And I got her blessing. So there was that. So understanding that you have so much more to give, that don't don't allow that 9 to 5 restrict you. If you add those hours times, add on to that 8 hours of sleep, add on to that 4 hours of traveling, you probably have maybe 1 or 2 extra hours that you can do something to develop yourself. So, number one would be the mindset. Number two, I rolled right into it, personal development. What do I have? What can I do now? Do I need any
Yeah.
help to
Yeah.
improve? You talked about Lisa. I definitely will need to do something with Lisa at some point in time. So far for me, it's been Tony Robbins. I love Tony. I love his books, and his two books that focus on money, master the game, and unshakable. Those are two solid books where he talked to some of the greatest minds in finance so that he could now help the regular people get a better understanding of money. And then there are the connections. You and I are connected, and then we are connected to a whole lot of other people. And another thing that you talked about was helping others. You get better, I get better, we help each other. What
Yes.
happens is not just when people within a community and even outside of a community become healthier financially. Well, yes, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
mental and physical well being through financial well being, because some of it you're going to have to pay for. But
Yeah.
when
Of
you
course.
do that, you get
No. Pause a little
this.
bit. Pause a
Yes,
little bit. Investing in yourself for me is very important.
I know.
I invested in going to Lisa and Lee. No, I don't. She just sent me an email. I have a free session with her on the 16th to 23rd of thing. But the reason why I get those free sessions from her in those emails, because I'm a graduate 4 times over. So every once in a while, she send you things. She say, I'm sending you a ticket. You are invited. And if you don't want to come to my, and she put a little joke in it, but if you don't want to come, I think, tell me right here, whatever. She know I'll be there, right? And what I like about Lisa is that no matter how she always remembers her students and her people who support her and who there for her. It wasn't just free things. So free is good, but I encourage women, stop saying you don't have, because they will never have. Giving and receiving. You need to give something to receive something. Sorry about that interruption, Christine. Go right ahead. That's why I just make
Uh,
that point. Investing in yourself is important.
yeah, so
Yeah.
personal development is critical. None of
Yes.
us could have gotten to where we are today without that investment in ourselves. So it's investment, it's self-care. Again, it comes back to the connections, and where I was going with it is when we're able to do better and we can help each other, we literally create healthier communities
Yes.
when we're giving back. I talk about tithing a lot, but when we give to our churches and they are now in turn able to go and help the communities, we may not be the person going out to hand out packages, not necessarily, but in our giving, we are contributing to a healthier community. And the other thing and that's a thing about money. There, you talked about giving and receiving. That's the law of reciprocity. So you give, you get, and guess what? Here's one of the reasons why I love to give, because I am the receiver first. Every time I
Yes.
am about to give, I get so excited about giving and letting my imagination go to think like, okay, so who's going to benefit? How are they going to feel when maybe
Right.
it's a week's worth of groceries. How are they going to feel? They're going to be able to feed their family. I get excited about that. And
Yeah.
so I receive the gift of my heart first, and then they receive it. So that's very important. So there's a lot to be said about creating the environment for, and I'm just going to say it, wealth, because it's a
Yeah.
good word,
Yes.
wealth, abundance, the
Yes.
more we have. And think about, I always talk about, remember, there's a fable. I think it's about the monkey who stuck his hand into a cage because there was a piece of fruit, but there was enough space for his little hand to go in. But when he grabbed it, it couldn't come back out. And so, oftentimes, what you were talking about hoarding is that we don't allow that space for money to flow freely. Now, we've got to make investments and we've got to set goals, but those are some pointers I will leave for everyone at
Yeah.
the end. Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. Really, really good stuff. Really good stuff. It is. This is one of my pet subjects to talk about because women. I mean, women. I really do believe that God gave me um, that vision and that authority to talk to women about different things. Of course, I talk about different things, but this is one of the topics that I come across a lot because sometimes you meet women and they want to ask you about their you know their hair and their clothes and all these different things that I do, right? But then always on the side of that is that they can't afford it.
Yes, yes,
Or when they hear I have been a student of Lisa Nichols, they think that, oh, you have money. I said, no, those are sacrifices. Those are many sacrifices I made to go, right? Because the importance of being present in the room when Lisa's teaching. Lisa and her other people, Susie and the other two teach along with Lisa and Sean and everybody else. To be look at, I saw there was a young lady, and that's in our twin, that's not the last one. We had an online one in 2020. It's 2020. We had a whole online, that whole thing was online because that time
right.
the world was still in a mess. Lisa created this huge space. If you see the space, there were monitors all around. She knew I was on camera, so I was supposed to go into a room. It was like, Cheryl Diane, what are you still in the room? I was like, Lisa seen me. Lisa Dagat. There's this young woman who wrote articles for like a magazine or something. And she
Yes,
was saying she didn't know how she could write a book. So Lisa said to her, how don't you know how you can write a book? You're writing these articles every single week. So how come you don't know how you can write a book? Lisa called her, right, to pull out all of the articles because she archived them, right? And there were different topics she wrote on. Lisa gave her the name for that book and what she was using there, some chapter 1 to chapter 72, all of the articles that she had written before. So sometimes what you need to make that income is right in your hand and you're looking everywhere else. And I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, I wrote my first book something like that, right? With a PowerPoint presentation I was making. It was too long and too wide and too big and too much information. But I was just kind of practicing with PowerPoint. And then my coach said to me, you need a product for when you come to speak at that was my first international conference. You need a product. And I was like, so then he said, that's not a PowerPoint. Nobody who's sitting down in a place with all those slides. Say, you're putting that together and make your first book. That's how I used all those slides and that and made my first little book, Live Your Style, right? And so I was able to relate to that, but it was so heartwarming to see how Lisa could have showed her how to get that book done so she'd have another stream of income with what she was already doing. She cried.
yes,
There were tears because she could not believe that, wow. So sometimes people need to look and see what they have in their hand, see what they have right there. Some people could really cook. I have a friend who could, her skill set is cooking. Anything she makes to eat is good. The thing with her is that because cooking is the heat and stuff in the kitchen is a whole lot, right?
yes,
But that's her skill set. I'm trying to encourage her now to pen her recipes, for some of them are unique, and to create a recipe book. And she's thinking about it. I say, all those different things that you do every single week and serve people that food, don't you have recipes? She said, but Auntie, I do these measurements. When you just start using measurements now, or at least writing down the measurement you think you should be using, so a cup of this, a tip of that, right? So that when you write it, you know how Chinese cook, right? Tradition and tradition. Right?
that's me.
Right. That's me. That's my mother. Tradition, right? But the thing is, There is a recipe for that. If you step and you think about how you made that sweet bread last week, with an ounce of that, a pound of this, 2 pounds of this, cup of grated coconut. So you could literally sit down. So I said, sit down when you have the time in between and write out or type all these recipes and put
Exactly.
them together to create a cookbook. And she was like, Auntie. I said, yes. She calls me Auntie. I said, yes. Because that's your skill set. You're good. I mean, she
Yes.
makes I'm like, what? She made something called a buljol bomb. Now, for those people who are not Trinidadians, I mean, buljol is saltfish, salted fish, like
Yeah.
canned fish, shredded with tomatoes and onions and stuff, right? She made one. She stuffed it into a ball of dough, like what we make our float with our, I don't know why they call it bacon, but it's like our fried pie or bun. It's like a bun, but she stuffed the middle of it with that salted fish already seasoned and done, made it into a ball, let it rise a bit, and she deep fried it. So it's not oily at all. It's very nicely done. So when you bite into this thing, you have all of this meat and tomatoes and vegetables coming into your mouth. Let me tell you something. We had a birthday party for Melissa in April. That was a hit. That was a hit. That's something she created. I said, so that's something you could make a recipe book. You could do a recipe on that. Write the recipe out and do your cookbook. You see, we all have those skill sets in our hands. You can do events. I don't know why you're not doing events still. You need to start doing some more events. You need to start planning some stuff, right? Because I've seen you do events. And those events, two in particular, I can remember, those were sellout events, right? You can do events, right? You're going to annoy some people because some people, don't like to see that you're doing something good, so little thing. But that's okay. Let them be annoyed because that's all right. You will never be able to please all the people all of the time. But the fact of the matter is, you will have your income that you'll be able to jump on a yacht and say, I'm going on a trip to Italy next spring or whatever it is because I have that money to do that, right? Or my friend needs money to help her organize something, so I'm going to give her that. I'm going to give her that,
Of
right?
course.
So, listen, we need to really see money as a tool. Stop looking for rich men. I mean, God bless if you find a man and he already has money, oh, and he's a decent person. Let me tell you, that's a blessing. But stop focusing only on the money. Because life is more about everything than just about money. Money is a tool like everything else that you have in your arsenal. Money is a tool as I guess like going to get your education. Money is a tool is like buying a car. Money is a tool is like getting a house. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. And the thing about it is that a lot of lack of money causes a lot of illnesses among women because stress is a huge killer. And you
Anxiety.
could talk about that. When you stressed and you're anxious because you don't know if tomorrow morning the light company will come and you take the lights off your house. That's gonna get you sick. So lack of money could also make you very ill. So my thing today, my sisters who will be listening to this podcast at whatever time they listen to it, those who
Yes.
will subscribe and and come be a part of this community. That on earning money is important. Learn how to invest it, how to spend it wisely, how to share not make it a thing that is like what hold on to it as though it's a thing that you can't let go of. No, and understand it's just a part of life. It's a tool, but a very necessary part of life, as almost as necessary as breathing air. I am saying that today. That's my declaration today. So talk about the stress part of it, because I know you're
Yeah,
into the wellness thing. Yes.
absolutely. And as you quite rightly said, when there is lack, we're constantly under stress. We're anxious. Some people become depressed. Some people go off the deep end, and that's a whole other conversation. I want us to keep it on the positive side because, as I see it, once we become aware of what our thoughts
Yes.
are we saying those words that money doesn't grow on trees? Are we saying that I am not good with money? Change, catch
Yes.
yourself, catch yourself. As the words are coming out of your mouth, be alert, be aware, catch
Yes.
yourself. and say, wait, no, that is not my truth. I am, I am getting better and better with the management of the money that I have. Every day I'm getting better. Say that, write it, put it up. The other thing that I encourage you to do, ladies out there, write your goals down.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Don't make, yes, we have the long term goals, but let us break those things down into manageable
Yeah.
chunks. If I want to go on a vacation next year, go online, get all the prices. How much will it cost me? Okay, so it might cost me 4,000 US dollars. Good. Now that I know how much it is, it's a goal. How
Yes.
much do I need to save and by when do I need to save it in order to make that goal a reality? It
Yeah.
may be a vacation, it may be hiring someone like you, Cheryl, because you're a professional woman. You're stepping into a new time in your life and you've got to make some image changes. Then how much does it cost? When can I book her? When will she be available? Okay, how much that will cost me on a monthly basis? How much do I need to
Yeah.
save to get me there? And then it's a couple other things. Are you ready for emergencies? That's important because if you are not ready for emergencies, that will add to your stress level and your mental well being will be challenged. Do your spending habits, do they support your values? Are you spending and making yourself happy in the areas where it really counts? Okay, then I know that next year, I am going to invest in myself again to become certified as a whatever that is. Is that going to make me happy? Yeah, it's going to make me happy and it's going to make me more marketable. So another point. Do you feel in control and confident about your decisions? When you start small, let's say $500, TT, we're talking TT dollars here now. If you are here in Trinidad and Tobago, as a matter of fact, even if you're abroad, start with a small amount and every month look at what your spending practices are. You might be able the following month to add 50 extra dollars and keep it somewhere where every time you see it, guess what? It's growing and you get happier, right?
Yes.
Are you staying on track towards your future goals? Again, that comes back to writing down your goals. You have got to see it. If you don't see it, it just becomes mist. So write them down. And all of that will contribute to your living a life that is less stressful on the financial side. Of course, continue speaking positive words over yourself
Yes.
and exercising. Even if it's like my famous 10 minutes a day, 10, 15 minutes a day. But
Do something.
ladies, it works. And what we
Yes.
could do is, in fact, at some point, Cheryl, we could launch a challenge right here on your program where we encourage people to drop us a line. Tell us what your money goal is to the end of 2022, and
Yes.
then we will join you. And
Yes.
we will just say, okay, I've gotten 30% of what I had
Right.
planned, I got to. So we could even do that, make it a challenge and make it a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 You're right. Spot on. Spot on. Spot on. I love this topic today. This is such a we should have about 4 or 5 thousand women listening to us today. But you know what? God is in charge, and it will happen at some point, and it's going to be there. YouTube. It's not
Yes.
going to go anywhere. I'm going to make sure I stay within YouTube rules, so that they will not ban my channel, and they will not remove my videos. So I'm going to make sure of that. So right? But the thing about it is that it's just, you know, there's so much that we can say regarding women and money. There's so much we can see. Because my mother was a money manager. Let me tell you something. She was a financial controller. She didn't know that, but she was the financial controller at her house. Whatever money that came
Yes.
in that little brown envelope on the Friday evening and stuck on that little pink powder bowl, and Mr. Man got dressed to go out and hang out with his friends, that money made groceries, bought clothes, and all kinds of other things with it. So she, whatever she received, I don't know how much money it was, don't privy to that. Whatever that was, she got it, and she managed the household with that, right? So when people look back and say, oh, they were homemakers, they had nothing to do. No, no, they had lots of stuff to do. They had lots to do. And you know, at the beginning, I want to talk about just to touch a little bit on some of the powerful women in the world that we can look to as good examples of how we need to steward not just money, but to steward our lives. We just lost one, the beautiful Queen of England, and she was somebody. I know people like to say that she had help and they had money and they didn't work for. People see work as only getting up every day and commuting for hours in traffic. That's not necessarily true. She took on something that was epic. Even we're looking back on her coronation, that little black and white clip of her with that heavy crown on her head, holding those two scepters in the hand, walking, without it falling off her head or dropping anything. She took on a man. She took on a whole lot on her shoulders, and still managed to have a love for 73 years, raise children and grandchildren, be a head of Commonwealth and everywhere that she was head of, and did her thing with dignity. And she knew people hated her. She knew people didn't like her family history. But she always did what she did with dignity. Never once did that lady slip. I admire her. I don't care what anybody say. And I would miss seeing her nice little hats and stuff and her lovely little colorful dresses and whatever it is. She knew fashion. And that's my genre, that's my thing. She knew how to make herself look good. She wasn't afraid. She didn't wear black dresses every day like somebody I know. Ooh, if you know it, right? She wore color. She knew how to put herself out there, and I loved her for that. And then there's people like Michelle Obama, who I think the whole world loves. She's such a positive role model as a woman. You know what I mean? Especially as an American black woman, where you know what happens, right? But she is such a positive role model. There's so many more women that we can look to who have taken up the mantle and didn't allow circumstances in their life. Because this is the pictures of the apartment she grew up in with her auntie, and they're upstairs, and they were upstairs, the aunt was downstairs teaching piano lessons.
Yes.
And you see where she lived with Barack when they first got married. You see where they reached to. Let me tell you something. We have role models that we can look to. Women who was not afraid to put themselves out there, to market themselves, not shy to say, I am whoever I am. I am a wellness coach. I'm an image consultant. I'm an international speaker. I'm a trainer. I'm an author. I am those things. And you know, if somebody might say, so why you want to say that? Because that's who I am. That's who I am, right? I mean, I'm a woman, I'm a person, but that's who I am, right? So we need to stop being, pulling back on hoots and saying who we are and putting ourselves out there, right? Because if we look around and we be honest, there are women who make it and we wonder, how come they're making it? How come they're doing it and we're not doing it? And they're not brighter than us or more talented than us. It's because they're afraid or ashamed to open their mouths and step out. That's why this forum is important to me. When I decided I want to do a YouTube channel, I thought about it and I thought to myself, I don't want to just do videos and upload it on YouTube. I want a channel, right? I want a channel. I want a channel, a legit channel with my logo, with my face on it. I want a channel. And I know it will take time to build, but I want to do this because this is another medium of people hearing my voice and knowing who I am. And I thought to myself, I want somebody. I could do it on my own, but I don't believe in that. I always feel having company is always good. Sharing a stage with somebody else is always, no, it's always good. right?
Yes.
I mean, if you get here, every once in a while, probably do jump on and say something has something a thought, outside of the Mondays. But the thing is, um, you know, a sister helping another sister up, a sister promoting another sister is always a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Because I want people to do that for me. I've been on podcasts and stuff where, people just ask me really, and I was very pleased to let my voice stay. So people get to
Yes, of
see me.
course.
They didn't have to ask me, right? You still don't have to send me that email so you can tell me she's having a workshop. What's the name of it? Powerfully something, some fancy name. Speaker word. She said we diving deep. Me 16 to 23. So it's like 5 days. That's how many days? 16 and 420. 7 days. Oh, it's a whole week. Wow, Lisa. A whole week of work with Lisa. But I know she knows how graduates. Sometimes we need like a little advanced training or reminders that we learn during our training. And that's
Of
the reason for
course.
doing that kind of workshop with us. So let me tell you something. I like and I'll always say I'm grateful to you when I said it to you. I need other people because I'm so tired. You're doing something and ask people and everybody not ready yet. You go ahead and do it, and you have all this kind of like all these downers. And when I said this, I said, I do it. So I thank you.
Yeah.
I
I
just
mean,
sit
like,
calm
just make
and
a
do this.
decision.
Yeah, I do it. Okay, there's so many things that another person she wants to do something. I want to do interviews and stuff like what I don't do like how you do it. Why you comparing yourself to me? I did when I did my interviews in my group. I did that was organic. I wanted to feature certain women in my group, and I did it. I called them and I asked them, and they all said yes. Not one person said no to me, and they all came on, and we did our interviews, and then I learned about podcasts, and then my podcast tutor told me I could use all the audio of those interviews and start my
Yes.
podcast. I have all those audios are there, I mean. So then I had a podcast. So I have a podcast, which I haven't done anything in for a while. So I need to do an episode of something. But so I'm keeping myself relevant. I'm out there. I'm out there. Women, we need to be out there. That's how people get to know us. That's how we make our money. That's how people get to hire us. People get to call us. Dr. Cheryl Wood has her story. I mean, she's one of those women who I really admire because I've followed her from way back, and she would talk about how she felt she wasn't like good enough because she didn't have the degree, she didn't have the letters behind her name, she didn't have that. She was an administrative worker. She worked. She was educated, not done by any chance. She had a good job, a decent job, earning $75,000 a year. But she decided she had a family, a young family, and a husband who was working hard every day. And she decided to do t-shirts. Whenever her children school had something, she would go and open a table and sell her t-shirts. Sometimes she would sell one t-shirt, sometimes she sell no t-shirts, and she would go home. But her persistence in showing up, guess what I've landed her? The school called one day and I'm telling her story. She didn't ask me to. She doesn't need me anymore. She's now big in the world. But the thing is, children's school called her one day and said they were having I don't remember the parent teachers, some kind of forum, and they wanted her to address the parents about entrepreneurship. So she had hit herself a couple times. Oh, me? What, me? Why did they ask her? Because she kept showing up. She was consistent. She was showing up all the time. She did that. The rest is history. She works for NASA. Okay? NASA. Okay? She did her first women's conference in Paris, a place where she didn't know the language and she didn't know anybody. And she had 150 women attended. In 2019, University of whoever, I can't remember who it was, called her and said they were to honor her with a doctorate for her tenacity and her forward thinking towards women. She was like, for me? I just went to high school. Yes, you. So today she's Dr. Sharon Wood. Let me tell you something. There are many, many good examples we can find all around the world from women that we can look to. Instead of looking at people who only showing their derriere, only modeling tight clothes, and only spewing funny language out of their mouths, there's so many other women we could look to and get examples from. You know, I also do that. I don't follow fashion kind of a person. But there are times I spend time when I just look at videos of certain people just to motivate myself and bring myself back to, usually if you're having like a low time, you go and listen to certain people. If I want to be
Yes.
more on the
You want to be
what is it?
inspired.
Right. But I'm more thinking I go to like better together. Is it better together? better
Yes,
together
better
than
together.
dividing.
Yes.
And I listen to some of those conversations they have around that little on those chairs there. So there are people who I listen to. There's certain YouTubers who like I said, Monroe Steele is one of them. I listen to Popcorn Planet. They could be a little off something, but they're very good. I listen to them. I like how he has built his business up. You know, I admire the way his name is Avi Singh. You know, didn't ask me for his name either, but I like how he has built himself up. And so I tune in there every single day. So sometimes I go to repeat, but I mostly try to be on their live. And there are people who I admire how they have moved themselves up in the world. You know what I mean? And we as
Yes.
women need to do that because money is a tool that we need, ladies. We need that tool. We need
Well,
it. I need it. Yes, we need it.
I have one last thing as we close um, to share because we've shared a lot today, a lot of great stuff. You know, money is one of my favorite topics. Um, Last thing, ladies, be aware of the people with whom you surround yourself. It is said that we are the sum total of our five closest friends. I'm not saying to dump all of your friends. I'm saying, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are these people on a move, a trajectory, a positive one that inspires you, that supports your growth? Those are the people. And always surround yourself with people who are steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
So, for Cheryl, it is Lisa Nichols and others. For me, it's Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, Nick and Megan Unsworth, Carl and Angela Thompson. Always people who are steps away from you. They've done so many more things and they're doing great things in the world. When you surround yourself with the right people, they inspire you to do more, to be more. And I leave you with that.
And I want to add to that. You need to know who you need to listen to self from. You need to know who you need to stay away from, not get next to them or start talking to them, but you
No,
need to know who to listen to self from. The world
do
is a
some
oyster.
pruning, folks.
All
Do some
our
pruning.
pastors, yes, all our pastors is raining very loud on the rooftop. I'm hoping that you hear it. Are you hearing the rain? We're just hearing my voice.
I'm hearing,
Yeah,
is
that's
that
the
rain?
rain. It's very loud. Yes, it's raining. It's
Wow,
raining.
yes, I'm hearing it.
Yes. Yeah, so we need to know who we surround us. We need for our own self to know who we want, who we are. Again, it goes back to mindset. Shift that mindset back to who we are. There's lots of positive things you can listen to on a daily basis. Lots of positive things. There are lots of positive people on YouTube who you can listen to and be inspired by. So try to stay in those lanes
Yes,
as we move on with our life. But just remember what today's aim is to remind everybody that money is
is
a
a tool.
tool that is necessary for us to live a
Hmm.
certain quality of life. If we get sick today, we have the money to go to the doctor. If we're hungry today, we have the money to buy food. If a friend calls and says, my God, something's happening, we have the money to give to somebody else, to be able to share. It is a tool that we need. It's necessary. Okay? Don't let church people tell you that money is the root of all evil. The Bible said the love of money is the root of all evil. So they change the narrative and it's the wrong narrative. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of it means that simply means you go to do the wrong things to get the money. That is the love of it that causes you to do the wrong things. But money is a tool that is very necessary for us to live by. But that same Bible said, right? That money, what is that? Money not compass the heart, but money. What it actually means is that money comforts all things. Money,
It takes away
money.
the stress.
Right. But there's a verse in the Bible that says that.
Yeah.
Next week I'll get it and I will tell you, money does cover all things. Money does bring something to you. So don't be afraid of money. Don't be afraid of speaking up about who you are. Don't be showing up and showing out, not showing off. Don't be afraid to step out in who you are. So I want to thank you all for listening. like, subscribe. Everybody stay safe, stay respectful to one another, stay on the right track. Remember, God is love. He is looking over us. He said He will never leave us or forsake
No
us,
forsake us.
right?
So true.
So, therefore, we need to always look to Him. That's who we get our help from. Regardless of who gave you the money, regardless of what the source of the money is, guess where it come from? God Almighty, the creator of the heavens and the earth. I'll leave you with that scene as we close off. I thank you all for listening. We welcome comments, share, subscribe. We're building something here.
And this
Take
is
care.
for you. So take care.